This is, without question, one of the most beautiful places I've ever been to. Oh my God. And now the drone resides with the cliffside and the water. This is insane. It feels special, and it is special. It was early June, and I was in a familiar place. Myself and 10 other guys were in Ireland for our good friend Connor's bachelor trip. A few faces I knew, but mostly strangers. We were staying in Dublin, but this day we traveled south by train to Bray. And this is where the trip started to settle in. I've been to Ireland many times before, but mostly in Dublin. This time I was excited to see more of the country. What struck me first were the vibrant colors, the blues and greens, the richness of the land, and the sound of the ocean. A few days passed, and we drove out to the Burren. It was a windy, rainy, cool June day, but I loved every second of it. Despite this being unfamiliar land to me, I felt more at home here compared to Dublin, out in the elements. We were all just running around like little kids, fighting the wind and rocks for a stable foothold. There was a playful note in the air, and everyone was feeling it. The next day, we took a ferry to the Aran Islands. We had a mission set by Connor: find the wormhole. What it was, we didn't really know. He told us not to look anything up beforehand, and we happily obliged. That was the theme of this trip. I only committed to coming very last minute, so I was out of the loop with the plans, and I was loving it. There was something so freeing of just going with the flow, and having a friend like Connor, I had full trust that whatever we did would be worth it. I became so distracted by the views and my bike chain falling off a few times that I lost the group. But this was paradise. The gentle breeze, the sun peeking through the clouds every so often, and biking on these small foreign roads. Eventually, as luck would have it, I spotted a sign. I left a note for the guys and started walking. The ocean was rough here, and as we approached, the wind picked up. We arrived at the Wormhole, a naturally carved rectangle that Connor wanted to jump into. As we looked closer, we started to worry about how we might climb out. before anyone knew it, Ben Reno, the bravest of us, jumped in. And he was able to climb out. The trick was to wait until the ocean swelled up so you could grab a handhold. And so all of a sudden, our worries were gone, and we all followed suit. We had a few more days of fun. I rarely picked up my camera in favor of fully enjoying the experiences. And then I was alone. I had 4 days of solo traveling, and the first thing I did was drive north. All the way north. Absolutely insane. I have a pretty quiet life at home, a small group of very close friends, and we live in the country. But even still, being completely alone is different. And it had been a while since I had alone time like this. Immediately, there's a sense of heightened awareness that settles in. It's been a year of high peaks and low valleys, so I really needed this time to wrap my head around it all. I was savoring every moment of it, and I didn't have a single plan. Just drive and explore. It's just after 10 p.m. I haven't seen anyone else here for about 45 minutes, which is just wild. A place like this that does get a lot of visitors throughout the day, I'm sure. But at night, you have this sense of solitude, which I really love here by the ocean. I had a great time with Connor, celebrating and hang out with all of the guys. That makes this experience of being alone that much better. The contrast between the two. I could sit here all night listening to the ocean. But a fire awaits at my campsite. I was trying to buy a tent off of Facebook Marketplace, and someone swooped in at the last minute and bought it before me. I do have 2 sleeping bags and a vehicle, so that will be tonight's home, and then we'll figure out tomorrow as it comes. I woke up to the sound of rain. Something I usually don't enjoy, but here it was comforting. I started driving west along the coast and was realizing how special this place is. Constant sound of an ocean, even when faint. It was my soundtrack. And every turn was a surprise. Being alone on my own time gave me the freedom to think and the freedom to be surprised. The sun peeked out of the clouds, and I really cannot think of many things better than the light hitting your face after a few days of clouds and a morning of rain and gloomy weather. Oh my God. This is insane. I just love finding views like this. I didn't know this was going to be here. I'm just driving. This is the magic of not having a plan. Like, look at how the fog is covering that mountaintop. There's all these little green archways, as Ben Miller called them. An apt description. And then it opens up. Like, this is insane. Now I can see the ocean in the distance, and that's where I'm headed. All right, now what's this town? There's all these farm stands as I was driving along the road selling eggs and fruit, but I only have pounds cash right now because I was in Northern Ireland. It would be really nice to get some local food. Oh, this is a cool little town. A little butcher shop right there. I also have to see what the kitchen is like at my cabin. I don't think there's much of one. It's more like a glamping type of situation, but I would like to park and check out this town a little bit. It's a good park. Isuzu truck. I found a cabin on the coast for the night. Rest is hard to come by on a trip like this. The sun is out so late, I was often up till midnight or 1 a.m., and then up with the light in the morning. My plan was to settle in for a while and then go explore in the afternoon. And what I found, I will never forget for the rest of my life. The sun popped out, and I started chasing it along the little farm roads up the mountain. As I reached the top of this first hill, the sun really started to burst through the clouds, almost as if it was pointing me in the direction I should go, and I was happily following it. So I'm trying to wrap my head around what just happened. That was, without a doubt, one of the most beautiful places I've ever been to. There ended up being two other guys up there that I didn't see originally from Belfast. We remarked together how incredible it was that we were the only ones there. To find a place so stunning and to have it essentially to yourself is unbelievable. It's honestly overwhelming to be in a place like that. For me, I don't know where to point the camera. No words I use can adequately describe what it felt like. Even the videos and photos I took don't give the full representation of what it felt like just to stumble upon this place. I decided to take out my drone to try and capture what I was seeing. The wind was just a little bit too strong, and now the drone resides with the cliffside and the water. I think I was able to recover some of the footage to my phone, so at least there's that. Oh, we got some mountain goats in the road. Excuse me. May I pass? Sorry to wake you. I'm really thankful that I had this experience alone, because there's a sense of boyish adventure that reminded me so much of being younger, running around in the woods by myself. But this is a place so special that it has to be shared. I woke up with a strange feeling. It's almost like I knew for some reason that last night couldn't be topped. I couldn't imagine having that feeling again in the span of a few days. I was almost numb to the beauty that I saw that day. I went on this incredible hike, and despite the views being beautiful, I couldn't stop thinking about my spot last night. This place had roads, pavement, a crowd. It wasn't my own private paradise. So I spent the evening just reflecting on the past few days. What really made last night so special? I was just following my instincts, and because of it, it felt like I was discovering something for the first time. I used to have that feeling a lot as a kid, but to have it as an adult so vivid and so strong, it was addicting. And I knew that I was going to be chasing that feeling for a long time to come. I woke up with a clear mind and an intention to make the most out of the day. I was going to meet with an old family friend, so I took my time and I drove slowly east, back across the country. So I've been making my way east. I'm driving through the Wicklow Mountains right now. And as I was coming up through the pass, the wind and the rain was so strong. And to have a consistent blue sky like this, there's been times where the sun has popped out throughout the trip, but nothing like this amount of blue sky. And I cannot tell you what this means to me right now, just to be in the sun for even if it's just 10 minutes. It feels unbelievable. It felt fitting that the sun came out on my last day. One last nice surprise. As I drove through the mountains, it became clear to me how important this type of traveling is. Going with the gut, living on instinct. It's so freeing for the soul, for the inner child. It gives me a great sense of calm, of happiness, of freedom. And this whole year has been so much about contrast. Here, being with a group of people, and then being alone. The overcast days mixed with just a few minutes of sun. The contrast between the two, it makes life sweeter. Sometimes you need those ups and downs, those peaks and valleys to appreciate things fully. And that's become very clear in a recurring theme so far this year. Darvel took me to a park she comes to often, close to her house. It was so interesting to see it through a local's eyes. It allows me to envision what it would be like to live there, hearing the stories that fill in the gaps of my imagination. And that evening, we did the one thing I had been missing this trip, to enjoy a home-cooked meal. So I'm just sat here on my last evening in Ireland, reflecting on this trip, and it's just been honestly a life-changing experience. I had really no idea what to expect, and I've been just surprised at every corner in the best possible way. And for the last day, to be sitting out in a farmland like this, not dissimilar to where I live, in a different country, it feels special, and it is special. The sun came out today, which has been just incredible. And there's something about being up in these mountains with the wind blowing like it is, the sound of the wind, the sound of the animals, the vastness of the view here that feels so comforting. I went and I walked down the road a little bit, and I saw a neighbor walking his dog, and it just feels so familiar in the best possible way. What a moment this is right now, watching the sunset, the breeze coming in. So beautiful.